TV. There's nothing like live TV right now and Saturday, as Noah Gregson's comments about David Starr just keep stoking the fire. NASCAR is full of surprises so far this season, and dirt late models have a big conflict, and we're only on March 1st. Welcome to Speedway Report. It is Monday, March the 1st. Doesn't that sound good? March? Yeah, especially for folks up north. March 1st, 2021. We're live from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds. Thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. I'll also thank you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you checked us out on YouTube, yeah, we're there. Yeah, we're cool. I think, anyway. Cool to me. This show is cool. It should be cool to you to watch. Check it out. Let's hit up the victory lane lap here on Speedway Report. Got a little bit kind of coming off the high of February Speed Weeks as we get into March, and now we get into the nitty-gritty of the season. Is a little more big February races, lots to report. Then we crash, and then we rebuild again for the regular season. NASCAR Cup cars raced last night in Miami, and William Byron won his second career win, piloting the 24 for Hendrick Motorsports. Saturday night's NASCAR Xfinity Series race was won by Maya Snyder. We're going to talk a lot about that race here tonight. Also in the Sunshine State, still on Saturday night, NASCAR's ARCA Series East raced in Pensacola, Florida. Sammy Smith was your winner there. World of Outlaws Sprints have rearranged their schedule due to COVID-19. They did not have any races this past weekend to report on. However, coming up this weekend, Friday they'll be in Florida, and Saturday they'll be in Florida. Where are we going to be? Friday night we'll be in Volusia Speedway Park, and Saturday night in East Bay. Florida, the place to be, has been, will be. NHRA is opening their season there a couple of weeks. NASCAR's National has been there for 3 weeks now. St. Petersburg, Florida, coming up for the Indy cars this spring as well. Also on dirt, talking about the sprint cars at Lincoln Speedway up in Pennsylvania, held their annual icebreaker. Tim Wagaman won his first 410 sprint car victory since 2014. As he said, it's not the National Open, it's not the World of Outlaws, but it's still a pretty big race in the Northeast that everybody wants to win. Good for him. Long year, over a 6-year drought from victory lane to victory lane. Let's talk about the topic that's been on so many people's mind over the past 48 hours. That's Noah Gragson and David Starr. Let's jump right on in. In case you haven't heard about it, I don't think there's any of you watching this show that have it. Anyway, let's recap it as we were about a lap and a half to go in Saturday night's NASCAR Xfinity Series race. Noah Gragson, your leader, with a big lead. Coming up on David Starr, running in the 12th, 13th position about. Noah Gragson, rim riding around the track. That's where he's running. That's where he's comfy. David Starr has a tire go down. It is corded. We'll talk about that in a moment. It is corded. The car gets out from underneath him, up into the fence. Gragson coming up right behind him. Bam! Damage to David Starr's rear end, but this took Gragson clean out. Nose of the car shoved back. Radiator, front suspension, you got it. The thing ground to a halt in the first turn. Set up the overtime finish where Maya Snyder took the checkered flag. Well, that was the on-track situation. These things happen. We'll take this whole thing piece by piece, step by step over the timeline. What happened on the track was a bummer for Gragson, but it happens. David Starr was on the lead lap, actually pulling off for his team, for the sponsor, for what they had. A pretty good run as you're coming to the white flag in the race, still holding on to the lead lap. Gragson got a big lead, been the fastest car all night, had the winning car, was looking good. That split second when the tire got out from underneath David Starr, shot him up the track right in front of Gragson. It was literally a racing accident. However, what do you think Noah Gregson's attitude is about this? As you would imagine, pretty pissed off, pretty upset. As he stated live on Fox Sports 1, if there's children watching, please cover their ears. There's dipshits in the way every week. And he got caught up in it. Gregson's comments, not mine, referring to David Starr. Now, this opens up a whole can of worms of opinion here. One of the chief complaints from fans about NASCAR drivers at the professional series is that they are extremely vanilla and extremely boring. They don't express any personality. Kyle Busch is the actual opposite of that. He's brought this topic up his whole career with a guy that expresses his opinion, has passion, has emotion. Okay. So do we want vanilla boring or do we want personality? I sure as heck want personality. But what kind of personality? Does that mean they got to be jerks about the whole thing? I don't know. I've said this about Kyle Busch for 15 or so years. Oh, more than that. You want personality. You don't want the vanilla. You don't want the boring. I've heard that so many times. Jimmy Johnson, a championship race car driver, championship racer. But man, when it got on camera, he's got very few moments on television where he was very entertaining, enticing, or engaged the audience or moved the needle. Now you got a guy like Gragson who's turning into a little bit of a Kyle Busch style of attitude and mouth and comments in the Xfinity series. He is. That's kind of the role he's taking up here. I think I've said it recently, where the role on this show, in a race car driver world, these guys crash, they go to the infield care center, they come out, they do an interview. That's not a lot of time after the wreck, the emotions have not calmed down yet. So if a baseball player strikes out and on the way back to the dugout, you put a microphone in his face, what the heck you think he's going to say? That is not a lot of time for these guys in NASCAR when they crash at 190 miles per hour. I understand why Gragson was upset. I understand his emotion. I don't understand the logic behind it. This was merely a racing accident. What right does Gragson have for David Starr to just move over? Yeah, you're coming up on the white flag. Starr was still on the lead lap. Why shouldn't he fight to be on the lead lap? There was plenty of room on that track, high or low, to go around David Starr. That tire just let loose at the wrong time when there was really no realistic escape route for Gragson. Now, social media was full of race car driving experts in the last 48 hours of everything that Noah Gragson should have done and with everything that David Starr should have done. There was really nothing that either driver could have done. Starr was not going to get into Gregson's way. There was plenty of room for Gragson to get around him. Gragson was riding that line his entire time. He was running half throttle. He was saving fuel. But when you get into that rhythm, you want to keep the rhythm. When you start doing something different, that's when you miss your marks. That's when you get into the fence. That's when you would have spun out and wrecked your car all by yourself. I've seen this many times. You get into the rhythm, whatever speed that is, whatever pace that is, wherever your marks are, keep doing that and you'll win the race. Unless something crazy happens, which it did on Saturday night. Let's jump away from this for a minute, talk about David Starr. Carl Long is his car owner, and Carl posted a photo of the corded tire itself. There was a little bit of speculation on the legitimacy of the photo, easy enough to explain. The race was Saturday night at Miami. Yes, in the dark. Yes, the photo was taken on Sunday at Miami in the daylight. The tires and wheels are carried by a hauler that Carl Long has in the Cup Series as well. Those tires and wheels were over in the Cup garage. That's where the photo was taken. That's when the tire was corded. That goes out on anybody. Good luck turning or braking. This might be a news flash to all the keyboard warriors that were on social media telling the world how David Starr and Noah Gragson should have driven. Carl Long has every right to defend his driver. David Starr did nothing wrong. Tire went down. He lost the tread on it right at the moment Gragson was coming up on him. Gragson to be pissed? Yes. The comments he made about Starr, wrong. Even though I've got a history with David Starr. Let's take you guys back a little bit. Story time here with Uncle Patrick. The year was 2008. The Speedway, New Hampshire Motor Speedway. My involvement in the sport, crew member at Germain Racing. We had 2 trucks in the Saturday truck race at New Hampshire Motor Speedway, prelude to the Cup race that was coming up on Sunday. David Starr wrecked both trucks that day. He got underneath one truck, got loose, hit it, knocked it into the wall. He got underneath our other truck, got loose, hit it, knocked it into the wall. Crashed both trucks for Germain Racing. He kept going, finished the race. Then there was one of the biggest fights between 2 teams on pit road at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I'm going to drop the YouTube video of this fight into the comments here on the Facebook live feed tonight. So if you're watching us on another platform, head on over to the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds Facebook page, jump into the comments, and I will put the YouTube link in there. This is from David Starr, 2008. Wound up wrecking both the trucks out of the Germain stable on this day. Crew fights, you got it. That was made a lot of TV. We had some suspension. We had some fines. I remember it well as we're coming up, gosh, with the clock ticking to 2021, 13 years ago. I've never forgotten that about David Starr. However, Starr has a pretty long history in this sport. Gregson is still building a reputation. Gregson currently has the reputation of a smart-mouthed little punk. That's the public perception of this guy. I actually sat 2 chairs away from him a few years ago at the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction ceremonies. He and his PR guy sat at the dinner table that I was at. I talked with Noah, nice guy, good guy, young guy, good driver, bright future for the sport. But man, he just ran his mouth on this Miami thing, and he won't let his social media go on this. Evidently, he had a right front quarter during the first segment on Saturday night's Xfinity Series race, but he didn't go into the fence. He's going on and keeps stoking the fire on this thing. He's not doing himself any favors. There's a lot of people viewing Gregson as like a Kyle Busch style of driver. Whiny little bitch. I've read that once. I've read it 35 times this afternoon about Noah Gregson. He's got to let this go. Yes, it sucks. Yes, you expressed emotion when you get out of the car, but this is an experience thing now, dude, where it's Monday. Let it go. You've got racing coming up this weekend, and it wasn't like anybody did anything on purpose or made a decision or a judgment call on this. That's not what happened. A tire corded. The tread got away from Starr at a bad time. It's just a bad timing for anybody. Noah, put the phone down, bro. Stop tweeting. You let it go. Yes, you're unhappy. Yes, you're upset. We know about that. David Starr isn't a dipshit in the way out there. He's a good dude. I've forgiven him for this wreck 13 years later. But, yeah, Starr's been winning NASCAR races before Gregson was born. Gregson's getting the reputation of silver spoon-fed, kid, the entitlement brat syndrome here. Here's an opportunity for Noah to turn that tide. Right now, as of social media, he's kind of digging himself a hole and not doing his rep any good. I understand the anger coming out of the car, but at this point, we're on Monday afternoon, and Gregson's still stirring the flames on this. Buddy, just let it go, man. Chalk it up to a loss and a learning experience within the court of public opinion. All right, hopping off that topic. But I do want to talk about the Xfinity race and Tyler Reddick. I told you we were going to spend a lot of time with this race tonight. Tyler Reddick did an excellent job in Our Motorsports, running that thing up to second place there at the checkered flag. He was disqualified, though, because the heights on the car failed inspection after the race. Elton Sawyer said today there's still a process in place where Our Motorsports can protest the decision by NASCAR, take it through appeals, so they couldn't get into details on why the car missed the height sticks on this. But what a drive for Tyler Reddick in that car, that team. Reddick proven himself pretty good. He ran second in the Cup race as well on Sunday night. Heck of a drive for Reddick. Second place in both. Disqualified on Saturday in the Xfinity race, put the shotgun on the field. Pass Tech keeps second place, and it looked like with more laps, it was one of those woulda, coulda, shoulda things with the end of the Cup race that could he have won? Maybe that would have been. Following the story this year of underdogs and people that aren't supposed to win are winning. My goodness, Michael McDowell, winner of the Daytona 500 on a plate race. Don't we all chalk those up to, yeah, that was cool, but we'll see how the story goes for the rest of the year. And now he comes up with what was it, 8th place on the Daytona road course and 6th at Miami. Wow, front row. Just Michael McDowell is absolutely 3 top 10s plus a Daytona 500 win. They're getting their act together. I mean, there's still a long way to go, but you're 3 for 3 in the top 10 department for front row on a plate track, a road course, and an intermediate downforce track. Okay, you have my attention, boys. Nicely done. Michael McDowell is certainly the feel-good story that everybody's hopping on. I'd rather, I don't know. Sex sells, blood, if it bleeds, it leads. So we talked a lot about Noah Gragson tonight. Michael McDowell wins Student of the Month. It just doesn't get the clicks. It just doesn't get the traction. But a great story to talk about early in 2021. Now, what about this Miami track? This is one of the better tracks in NASCAR on the national stage. It's shaped like the former Atlanta before they reconfigured that in the late 90s when they put the double dog leg, making it a quad oval. That became the template for way too many tracks in the world. But Miami, worn out pavement, sweeping corners. The corners could even be a little longer. I thought Atlanta years ago was a great track, and they had a mile and a half oval. Not any kind of a tri-oval or quad oval, but Atlanta used to be a mile and a half oval, and the turns were a mile of that track. Quarter mile straightaways, a half mile in each corner. You were in the corner for 1 mile out of that mile and a half. And when the pavement wore on that, we saw some great racing. Miami has some great racing. We need to hold these daytime races. You pick up more grip at night. Let's put these things in the daylight. We saw so much good racing out there. High, low, heck, 3, 4, 5. I saw 5 wide there before over the weekend. Fantastic race. Why in the world are they having championship weekend at Phoenix and not back in Miami? We've talked about this on the show before. What more do you want out of racing than what they're giving us at Miami for an intermediate downforce track in NASCAR? Worn out pavement and a true oval. I don't know. Chalk it up to all the dumb decisions that have come out of Daytona Beach over the last 15 to 20 years. They just make piss poor decisions time after time after time. Speaking of piss poor decisions, the dirt late model world. Are you kidding me? Bristol, Tennessee, throwing the dirt down on the half mile. They're going to host NASCAR there. They're going to host the World of Outlaws. They're going to host the late models there. The late models have a $50,000 to win race at Bristol, Tennessee. On the same night, there's a series race for the Lucas Oil late models. Beat my head against a wall. You will not have everybody and their brother at Bristol, Tennessee for this thing. There's a lot of guys that are loyal to the Lucas Oil series that want to run for that championship. They will not skip the Lucas Oil race just to go to Bristol, Tennessee, because it's in Bristol, Tennessee. That $50,000 to win is nice, but I'm sure, you get down through the middle of the field or even into the top 5. Is that worth losing the money from the Lucas Oil point fund on the late model side? Why is there a conflict on this? Why? There shouldn't be. Why? Good Lord, why? We hear about this all the time. Stupid things like this. Why do we have to get into a pissing match and whose truck is raised higher? Why did Bristol, Tennessee have a late model race on the same night as a Lucas Oil late model race? Somebody help me. I don't think anybody can. Silly decision. Pensacola, Florida, because Florida is where all the racing takes place. It seems like in the entire world lately. The ARCA East Series was at Pensacola. This is the old Busch North Series, folks. 15 cars showed up. 2 were starting parks. So you got basically a 13-car heat race to go for all those laps. Gosh, how the mighty have fallen from Busch North when the days when we used to have 60 or 70 cars show up to qualify, down to 15 cars showing up at Pensacola, Florida. More great decisions by NASCAR as they continue to run stock car racing into the ground. And I want to end the commentary tonight with, guilty admission by me. I read about Lincoln Speedway. I told you earlier in the show, the icebreaker was held up in Pennsylvania. Well, they spent some time honoring folks that had passed away. And one of the guys they honored was Nathan Durborough out of Hagerstown, Maryland. Great dirt late model racer up there. I had totally missed it. The man passed away. He left us last November. I was shocked when I read his name. He's a legendary late model racer with so many track championships at Hagerstown and Winchester, Virginia, and through the mid-Atlantic states. Totally missed his passing. I like to keep up on short track racers so much. Guy was in his 60s and one of the big winners and just kind of like that mid-Atlantic late model superstardom. I'll tell you what. Nathan Durborough, his fans tuning in. Man, I never mentioned that. Totally missed it, and I'm sorry about that. I feel really bad, but I thought I should mention it tonight and admit my mistake on that one. Jumping back to our Racer of the Week for Speedway Report, and a hat tip to Dave Despain. This one was tough. I hate it when guys can't make a decision, and they're going to give it to 2 items, 2 people, 2 things. I am going to make a decision and give my Racer of the Week. However, it is my show, so I can do what I want, so I'm going to give it an honorable mention. First of all, our Racer of the Week, I'm going to go with Tyler Reddick. Runner-up finishes in both the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series. He drove the wheels off of both his cars. Yeah, the Xfinity cars was disqualified. Not his problem, not his fault. It was his problem, not his fault. What are you going to do about that? It was a height rule, for crying out loud. You jack weight in those things, it moves the height around. Tyler Reddick, great 2 runs there. He is our Racer of the Week. Honorable mention, I'm going to go to Kurt Busch. He was in the top 5, had a loose lug nut and a vibration, had to pit with about 40 laps to go. 4 fresh tires, a lap down. He comes up under green, unlaps himself, leaves William Byron in the dust, and charges all the way back to 8th position at the checkered flag. Man was wheeling that car at the end of the Miami race. Another heartbreaker. Absolute drive. Tyler Reddick and Kurt Busch. Tyler Reddick, our Racer of the Week. Kurt Busch, what could have been, bud. Honorable mention for him. Now they can sleep well at night knowing that they were both mentioned on Speedway Report. Everybody in between our broadcasts, you keep up on the world of racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and all of our past shows are archived there. On social media, check us out on the Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds Facebook page and Racers Reunion on Facebook. On Twitter, 2 accounts, at Speedway Pat and at Speedway Report. RacersReunion.com in the forum. And as I said, LinkedIn. Check us out on Speedway Report on the YouTube channel. Jumped over to LinkedIn? No. YouTube, Speedway Report. Big thanks to everyone on the Facebook live feed for joining the conversation on the show tonight. Give me a few minutes. I'm going to post the big fight at New Hampshire that Germain Racing had with the guys that David Starr was driving for. Just wait a few minutes. I'll have it up to you quickly. I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, you take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You've been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. Now, if you're on Facebook Live right now on the Drag Racing List page, Drag List Live is going green at the top of the hour, less than 5 minutes away. Bill Pratt and John Bachman will take you through the next hour. I'll be back live here on Facebook Monday, March the 8th, 1 week. We'll have NASCAR National Series in Las Vegas, World of Outlaws sprints in Florida, and some season opening short track race. And thank you all for watching. You take care of yourselves and take care of each other. Look for that YouTube link on the Facebook page here shortly, and I'll see everybody next week.